Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. In this video, what I'm going to touch on is probably one of the most underlooked sectors in recruitment. It's actually probably one of the best sectors when you actually think about it. And I want to start off by saying HR is probably a really good sector if you're looking for a sector to go into. One thing I do want to note, it's quite quiet at the moment, but this is probably the time to actually start a HR focused recruitment agency. So human resources is pretty much in every business. I'm going to start off by telling you two quick stories. Now, one was a time I was recruiting for an executive position. So anything above £80,000 salary is classed as an executive position. This position was probably about 120,000, and it was for a company I was recruiting for and I've made placements with. I was on a very low fee with them, but very high salaries. So I was making good money. They were my highest ever placements from this company. And what I was looking for was like a sales director, but kind of operations as well. So I was getting desperate. I was searching job boards. I came across a CV, and this was a time, if you're a recruiter, you know you can search from all time. So you can find really old CVs, like 6 years old. So I came across a lady who's got experience that I wanted, but she was a HR director. So I thought I'd call her, spoke to her, and she said, look, it's not for me. I'm very happy where I am. I said, look, think about it. So I followed up with her naturally, and I sent her some information afterwards. I followed up with her, and she said, I'm still not interested. I said, fine. But she goes, can you help me recruit technicians? So I said, okay. And it was for these towers, the electricity towers, and their company focused around that. So she actually ended up giving me two positions, and she said she was very pleased how I spoke, how I came across. So I thought, okay, great. She's, I've won a client from it. Didn't actually place that candidate at the previous position. Another agency filled it, unfortunately. But I did go on to make two placements with them later on for a sales director and a head of legal for them as well, which was really good. £12,000 fee. Another one was I was recruiting for a company, quite a large company. It was a FTSE 100 company. And I placed an ER consultant, which is an employee relations, a part of HR. And I was actually working, this company owns loads of different companies, and they have a massive holding company under them. And I placed them within the organization, but she actually gave me the contract afterwards because of how I dealt with her. So good level of customer service. Make sure you get that kind of contract. At the time, brilliant win, because I got another subsidiary of that massive company to recruit for, and they were entry-level positions. They were quite easy to fill. So naturally, it dawned on me that HR is a really good sector. This is going back 1.5 years, maybe 2 years, and it was a really good sector. So I never actually done too much in the HR department other than those two clients that I dealt with. And what is another good point? I'm going to name you about 5 points why, if you're looking for a niche, this is going to be a no-brainer. So first point is obviously that one. Yeah, you naturally pick up clients. So you're dealing with HR managers, you're placing HR directors, HR managers. Who do you think they're going to give the business to once you find them a job? And I've seen many people posting on LinkedIn, and there's one particular lady I used to see, and I tried to find her a job. I couldn't, because there was no one hiring at that stage because of the pandemic. Naturally, she gave the contract. She got a job in a really big company, and she gave the contract to that recruiter, and she promised, if you find me a job, I will give you the PSL exclusive. So whoever placed her is on a very large company in that sector. I think it's an IT company that she's with, or fintech, or one of those. So really good. If you place candidates, naturally you become the PSL basically, and it's very easy to ask, come on, I've done you a favor, rather than cold calling and saying, oh, I'm a really good recruiter, blah blah blah. You've actually shown them, I've got you the job, now you help me, put me on a PSL. You've already got a relationship. You don't need to build one. You've placed your candidate, they give you the PSL. That's the first point. Second point is it's a very large sector. Yeah, so pretty much all businesses, Pretty much all businesses have a HR function. The small companies that we don't even deal with naturally anyway, we don't deal with small companies because they don't have budget, they don't have a need for an agency. Large companies, small companies, medium-sized companies pretty much all have a HR function. When they're very small, sometimes it's the director or the owner of the business have a HR function. But in HR is a very good sector. They have to know about the law. They do all the jobs that people don't like. They hire, they fire, they deal with recruitment. So it is a very large sector, and it goes all the way from, beginner to, director level as well with that. So in terms of, there being entry, like point three is entry level positions. So you can get a HR advisor on 18,000. You can get, sort of telephone coordinators at that level as well, HR sort of coordinators, and you get all the way up to HR director, global HR director, which can be £1 million salary. So they're really, really sought after as well with that. Now, it is growing. It's a growing sector, not at the moment, but it's a growing sector. Always will be. Every company will need some sort of HR function. So if you're worried about, oh, is this industry going away that I'm currently recruiting for or I'm looking at, you're going to look at HR and you're going to say, great, this is a sector that's always going to be there. Whether it's remote, whether it's outsourced, you're always going to have a good need for this sector. So it's evergreen. It's going to probably be around for the next 10, 15 years, if that. So it's always important to pick a niche that is going to be, around for a while. You don't want to pick a sector that's dying off. And that's one of the points I recommend doing. Excuse me. And another point is it's a graduate market as well. So if you are looking at graduates, you could obviously look at HR graduates, because there are, I think I read a statistic, there's like 36,000 graduates recruiting at one stage. So when there are peaks, you can be looking at that. So it is a massive, massive sector as well. I'll give you a scope of how massive it is, and probably you haven't thought about it. Talent acquisition is part of HR. Recruitment consultants are part of HR, technically. We are in the sort of HR, human resources. It goes without saying. So if you can actually recruit recruitment consultants for recruitment agencies and be a recruitment consultant. So a rec to rec is what the sort of industry is called, or the slang around the industry. Companies like recruiters, and because they are recruiters, they know how to deal with them. You can't pull any smart, ideas or anything. They're more likely to come back to you. They will engage with you. They know how everything works, terms, business, etc. And essentially, it's, you're providing salespeople for them, and they will pay you for it. It's a massive sector. It's typically dominated by sort of single freelance recruiters. There are some, well-known agencies in the space, but no one ever grows massively. So I wouldn't say that's a sort of sidearm. But you can find good niche recruiters. If you have a recruiter that can make 200 grand a year, you can probably charge an agency. Any agency will take them on, no problem at all. And the final point, which is I think point 5 or 6, is you're only going to need LinkedIn, because 60% of LinkedIn is made up of HR and recruiters. Naturally, all HR, actually, it was more, it started off like that. It was mainly HR people that were just talking on there and engaging on there. If you go on your feed, I dare you to open up your LinkedIn. Most probably everyone is some sort of HR person that gets engagement on there. So you're very likely to find people in that sector on LinkedIn. You don't necessarily need to buy expensive job boards. You don't need to spend too much money. So HR overall will be very easy to source people. They're very active on LinkedIn. They're more likely to get back to you. People that work in HR are very engaged, in the community. They like good practice. So if you come across well, like I told you my points at the start, if you come across well and you're saying to them, look, I'm not a cheesy recruiter. I'm looking to help people find a job. I'm doing the best for my clients. How can I be of service for you? Are you open to new opportunities? So it is a really good sector, and I would definitely consider it. It's a nice office-based job that people are wanting to break into this career very, very often. So if you want to start entry level, work your way up. If you're placing HR directors, you are laughing, because you're winning PSLs left, right, and center. And, it's a skill that is actually sought after. A good HR manager will, I've seen it done. I've seen it with clients. A good HR director will transform a business. Literally, forget a sales team. Sales team will hold nothing to a good HR manager, HR director that will change the business. Yeah, if you can find these people and help your clients do that, it's going to be a fantastic career for you and an industry. So that's my little 2 cents. I've never recommended it. I do recommend HR. It's quite quiet at the moment on the agency side, but if you can start making it work now, you'd be laughing, believe me. So I hope that helps. Hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know your comments below. Take care.